Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about a genre that everybody loves, and that is a comedy. Now, what is comedy? Comedy is one of the most popular forms of literature, especially in drama or plays. Think of it as the opposite of tragedy. While tragedy deals with heavy things like suffering and people losing everything, comedy deals with humor, light situation, and more importantly, happy ending. The main goal of a comedy is to entertain you and make you laugh. However, it's not just mindless fun. A good comedy also teaches us important lessons about how people behave and how our society works. It actually started a very long time ago in ancient Greece alongside tragedy. Over hundreds of years, it grew and changed, especially during the Elizabethan time when Shakespeare was writing and the Restoration period in England. Let's define it more clearly. Comedy is a story or a play that looks at amusing situations and human weaknesses. One very important thing to remember is that comedy usually shows ordinary people, people like you and me, rather than kings or legendary heroes. It focuses on everyday life. In a comedy, our problems are never so big that they destroy someone's life. Instead, the drama comes from simple things like misunderstanding, love issues, or people acting a bit foolish. In simple words, it shows the lighter side of life. Even if there is total confusion in the middle of the story, by the end, everyone is happy, relationships are fixed, and everything feels right again. This gives the audience a great sense of relief and satisfaction. Now let's look at the main features of comedy. Like, how do we recognize comedy? First, it has a light and cheerful tone. Tone just means the general vibe or mood of the work. It feels enjoyable, not scary or depressing. Second, as I mentioned, it stays close to real life situation involving common people. Third, comedies love to use tricks like disguises, coincidences, where things happen by pure luck, and witty dialogue like clever and funny talk to make us laugh. Another key feature is the happy ending, usually a marriage or a big reunion. But here is a secret: comedy also exposes human weaknesses like pride, jealousy, or hypocrisy. By showing us these faults in a funny way, comedy indirectly tells society, hey, let's try to be better, okay? Now let's look at the types of comedy. Now the first one is romantic comedy. Romantic comedy is probably the most loved type. It is all about love and relationships. The story usually shows two lovers who want to be together, but they face obstacles like a strict father, social differences, or a silly misunderstanding. But don't worry, in a romantic comedy, it always ends happily, usually with a beautiful wedding. Like Shakespeare's play like As You Like It are perfect examples. Then we have dark comedy, also called black comedy. This one is a bit more unusual because it takes serious things like death or violence and treats them in a funny way. It might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but the purpose is to show the absurdity of life. Absurdity just means things that feel meaningless or strange. Dark comedy makes us laugh while also making us think deeply about serious messages hidden behind the jokes. Now, the next one is Comedy of Manners. This type was a super hit in England during the Restoration period. It mocks the lifestyle and behavior of the upper class or rich people. It uses satire, which is a way of making fun of people's faults to show how fake or hypocritical they can be. It's all about etiquette, fashion, and being clever with words. Now we have sentimental comedy from 18th century. This was a reaction against the rude jokes of earlier times. It focuses more on emotions, goodness, and moral values. Instead of laughing at the characters, you feel sympathy and compassion for them. It's meant to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. And another we have Comedy of Ideas. It was made famous by writers like George Bernard Shaw. Here, the humor does not come from silly accents, but from clever debates about big topics like politics, religion, or social issues. It's a very smart kind of humor. Now, comedy of humors. This is a very interesting type called the comedy of humors, popularized by a playwright named Ben Jonson. This was based on an old medical theory that our bodies are controlled by four fluids called humors. People believed that if you had too much of one fluid, it completely controlled your personality. In this plays, its characters is dominated by one specific habit or trait like being extremely greedy, very jealous or too proud. Because this one quality is so strong, it makes the character look ridiculous and funny. It shows us how human nature can become silly when we let one emotion take over our whole personality. From a deeper point of view, comedy is much more than just a laugh. It helps us understand human nature. When we laugh at a character on stage, we often realize that we have the same faults in ourselves. It teaches us that while life is full of problems, most of them can be solved with a bit of understanding and a good sense of humor. Unlike tragedy, which leaves you feeling heavy, comedy creates a sense of hope. It shows us that happiness is possible and provides an emotional relief from the stress of real life. So as you can see, comedy plays a very important role in both entertaining us and educating us about being human. So, comedy is an essential literary form. It isn't just about making people laugh, it is a way of presenting life in a light and humorous way. As we have seen today, comedy deals with very real things, human weaknesses, how we behave in society, and the small everyday situation we all face. The most beautiful thing about comedy is that it usually ends with happiness and harmony. After all the confusion and silliness, everyone finds peace.